I was out there, doing my thing, and then it was the day before. I'm gonna tell you the joke. All right, check this shit out. So I told this joke, and I said, okay. So I had a girl, and it's like some of her teeth were. She had a summer mouth, and I was like, what's a summer mouth? I said some of her teeth were here, some of them were there, and I said some of them were missing, but she sure could suck a dick. And I was like, ah. And it was a day before Mother's Day, and they're like, oh my God. And then they put up, and then it was like a wave that fell over the crowd. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I lost all the ladies. Then I lost the whole room. But they were laughing because the men, they thought that shit was funny. But then, of course, their ladies were looking at them sideways and shit. I'm like, hey, you got to take big risks. This is comedy, man.
Welcome back to another episode of the Naturalspod with your boy, Uncle Kyle. Let's get into it. Welcome to this episode of the Naturalspod. As always, I'm Uncle Kyle. Today we have a very special guest, someone I consider the unofficial mayor of this Vegas comedy scene and easily the sharpest dressed comic. Welcome to the show, Bobby Stikx.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing, man? Shout outs to Kyle. I've been reaching out to him for a minute, and we've been having a good time. So shout outs to you, Unc. Let's make this thing happen. We here, mayor of fucking Vegas comedy, talking shit.
Yeah. You're looking sharp too, buddy.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I dress for the job that I want, so hire me, I'm trying to go for a certain look. I don't want to look like anybody else. I'm very original, at the end of the day. So I just like to dress comfortably, and I feel comfortable this way, so this is how I dress. I have a lot of different things, and I'm going for a certain look. I'm a grown man. I don't have no time for all the childish shit,
Yeah, I feel the same way. So I think that the Olympics are just now wrapping up. You could see that our women's soccer team won gold for the first time in 12 years, which, makes it seem like they've been trying for 12 years, but there's only been 3 Olympics since then. But isn't it great to just be an American and just crush the world every time there's an Olympics?
Yes, it really is. It's so great being an American right now because of the fact that, all the stuff that's going on right now in America and different places, but, USA all the way. We have the most medals. We have the most freaking, we're top notch in everything that we do. But the thing that's funny, did you see the transgender beat the other real lady up? Did you see that shit?
In the boxing, I did.
Knocked her smooth out, or whatever the case was. The girl quit, and I'm like, come on, man. This is just what is going on in America today, and I'm so glad you brought that up because this is one of the things that I was thinking about. I was like, yo, that's kind of shitty, in the terms, but it's just like, hey, to each his own. But if you want to fight, they should make a league just for them. That'd be dope.
Yeah, so I'm all for inclusivity and stuff. I just don't want things shoved down my throat. But for me personally, I just feel like that has no place in the Olympics.
No, it doesn't.
You should be a biological female. I think that's unfair. The one gal who was from Italy was like, she ended up just throwing in the towel and going, this ain't worth it. I'm not going to get the shit kicked out of me. And she was just crying. And it's terrible because they train for years and years and years to perform in these games. And then it's like
and then you have to fight out of your weight class. You have to fight somebody who's not even your equal. And it's like, that's jacked up. And I was like, what are we doing in society right now to where it's just like, it's not cool. It's not cool at all,
Yeah, but that would be like a flyweight in the UFC
fighting a heavyweight, fighting Brock. You'd be like me fighting Brock. It's like, okay, cool. And they don't tell you who your opponent is, nothing. And then all of a sudden he just walks to the stage. It's like, oh, hello, sir. And it's just like, it's not right, but that's just how things are going, And then also in the Olympics, the shooting, for the men, like we should have won that, seeing as they go into schools and they're 100% accurate every time. That's fucked up. That's a joke. But what I'm saying is, like, did you see that?
Oh
did you hear that? They're like, ding, 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 ding. Now, if they would have put children around, that would have been, ding again. The phone goes off. But it's just like, it's crazy. But the Olympics is it's actually pretty cool. And matter of fact, a couple years ago, how breakdancing is going to be an Olympic sport now. Like some of my homies help put that on the put that out there. I grew up with some B-boys. Shout outs to Knucklehead Zoo. Shout outs to Motsy Bush. Shout outs to Freaky Sinatra. Shout outs to Jabberwockies. You know what I mean? That's how we salute each other back in the day. But it's Motsy Bush, he's out there in Sacramento, and they were like advocates of that in Las Vegas. They went to France and they put on this performance, and that's a hell of a sport. So shout outs to the world for putting and recognizing hip hop literally a competition. So, shout outs to hip hop.
So is that new this year, having because I was blown away when I saw a video that said Olympic breakdancing, because they're doing that, and then there was a couple other sports that I was just, some of them I'm on the fence about. I'm like, really, for the Olympics? But breakdancing is worldwide. Like, there's people all across the globe that do it, so
might as well put it
out
out there.
I need to look up like a little highlight video.
Yeah,
too,
look
so
it up, because they have some, they had this Australian lady, and it was horrible. I don't know what she was doing, but it's like,
right?
Did you see her?
The video I
and
saw.
She's over there hopping around. And I was like, it's not breakdancing. I don't know what that is, but it's just like competitive breakdancing, and like on that top level type stuff. It's like, you have to be some sort of, you have to be an acrobat. You have to be coordinated with your moves, and you have to be direct with it. Otherwise, you're tearing some stuff up. That's why I didn't become a b-boy. Like, they were showing me how to do moves. I finally did a windmill. Wow. I was like, I went all the way around and landed on my balls. I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm not putting the balls in jeopardy, because I want to do this windmill and try to get all this stuff going. So
is a windmill where you spin on your
a windmill
head?
is like, no, you're on your back and you kick your legs around like a windmill. I opened all the way up, and they're just like, just let it go, and you roll on your shoulders. You come. So I came all the way around, and when I landed face down instead of like on my back, and I landed right on my nuts. And I was shit. I was crying and shit. I was done. I was done b-boy, and that was the end of my professional breakdancing career. But shout outs to everybody who does it, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild that lady had such a poor performance, because when you see when I see breakdancing online, like, these guys are incredible. They're doing the head spins, they're doing flips, they're doing the crazy popping and locking, and like the robot like pausing stuff. Like, it's incredible. As somebody who has never ever been good at dancing ever.
You never been good at dancing, Kyle?
Never.
Come on, man. You look like a dancer.
Even coordinated fucking white people line dancing is just out of my reach, man. I can't do it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, though. I'm not, the most coordinated, but, once I start getting into motion and getting into rhythm, and I start doing a couple things, but I'm no dancer. I really am not, but the b-boying, it's on a whole nother level, and it's just, that's how I grew up. I grew up with everybody, which makes me very unique. Some people grew up in certain areas. I grew up with, whites or blacks or Mexican, whatever the case is. I grew up in Green Valley, so I was one of 3 black kids in my school when I was coming up at one point. Yeah, dead ass.
You're Vegas
born and raised in Vegas. You know what I mean? And
all
before,
right, my fist real
you a
quick.
Vegas guy?
Natives,
my
dude,
guy.
natives.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
go.
There's not a lot of us, So yeah. Grew up in Henderson, Green Valley. They're like, oh, you must have money. We had just enough money to just hang out and to be kind of comfortable. Mom's was single, she's by herself, raised by my grandparents and all that kind of stuff. And then, I was raised around a bunch of like white kids at the time, and they'd never seen too many black kids. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So then, I had to start fighting them, and it's just like, they were just calling me the N-bomb. I was like, what the hell is this?
We don't love that.
And then I was like, wow, what is this? And then I was really like kind of shocked, and they told me, hey, they don't like you. And I was like, yeah, well, I don't like them either. And then then the other people started getting moved in, blacks, Mexicans started coming in. So it's just like I started dressing like a Mexican, like a cholo and shit like that. For real, like Ben Davis and khaki suits and shit.
High
socks all the way to the knees. High down to the full homes. Órale, vato. Órale, güey, que pues, vato, loco. But yeah, man, I like Mexicans, so I hung out with them a lot. And it's like, there were skaters around, so I couldn't skateboard. I tried it. How do you do an ollie? I just jumped off the skateboard. I was like, how do you make the board jump with you? I was like, fuck this skating shit.
Right. I'd kill myself on a skateboard.
Oh, yeah, man.
I tried it twice and ended up just straight on my ass.
I skinned my knees and my elbow, whatever the case, and I was like, that's fine. I'm a kid. And then, I was kicking with the brothers, and I didn't have Jordans. I just had enough for the Cortezes and shit like that. So then, the Mexicans and Cholos, they were chilling. They're like, hey, what up, fool? You want to smoke some of this? Hey, I was like, hell yeah. I went over there and I started kicking it, and then everybody kind of integrated with our groups. And then I started learning about b-boy, and I started playing sports, and I started getting active. And then, I was doing my thing. Hopped off the porch, I was like, yeah, let's play football. I put a helmet and pads on. I was like, ow, football hurts. And, I kept playing for a little bit. My dad actually played football. Here's where this bit comes from. So he played professional football. He played for the Jets and the Redskins, back in his day. He went to school out in UNLV.
That's awesome.
And it was pretty dope. And then, so he had me and my brother, blah, blah. And then, you know, he was so good that he was a fullback, you know, and he ran out of our lives.
No.
Shit, damn. But it was just like, you know, it was cool. And then I have 3 stepbrothers, you know, but they're just like my brothers, you know, they're just like lighter skinned versions of me, you know. Their mom's is a white lady, you know, and then we have the same pops, and it's like, yeah, I have a great bunch of brothers that are around me, and I'm the oldest one out of all of them, you know, so it's dope. Shout outs to the Batton 5, you know, shout outs to all of us, you know, because we out here.
Shout out to older brothers too. My dad is the oldest of 6.
See, there you
family,
go.
So, and I'm the only son, so, you know, I get to be the oldest brother to no one. But,
so he's the chosen one, you know, so it's dope. We got a lot in common, brother. And I was like, I see you on the scene, and I'm just like, oh yeah, this dude's cool as hell, you know. And I like to support people who are I like to support people in general, man. I'm a people person, you know, and I get along.
That you are.
Oh yeah,
you are.
I like people, you know, and I like to get along with everybody, because it's like life is too short to be a freaking to be a dick, you know. It's just like, yo, I just want to know who everybody is, you know. Just find my lane and be able to talk with anybody and everybody at whenever it pops up, you know. So yeah.
I tried it again last night. I went to 702.
How was it?
I did bad. I got a little too drunk, and you know, it's like I also have all this shit going on in my life personally and with the podcast. So I just think it wasn't the right time. But also, I just kind of came to a realization. I have a deep love and respect for comedy, and I fully admit, like, going on stage to me is terrifying. Like, doing this is just kind of my ballpark. So I just kind of realized, like, you know, I'd rather be in more of a supportive role, doing the podcast, having you guys on, coming to your shows, promoting them, rather than doing it myself, because it's just like, it's tough, man. I don't know how you guys do it.
No. Look, this is how I felt. Sometimes it's how I still feel, but like, I'm so type A personality that I can get on a mic and just talk to a whole crowd. I was serenading people at the lunchroom just because somebody was playing a ukulele, you know. That's what I was just, there's like maybe 100 people in the room, and I just started singing just a song that I freestyled a R&B song. It was great.
Bobby Stikx, the entertainer. He's a triple, quadruple threat. He sings, he acts,
dances,
he does comedy, he does breakdancing, maybe
not. And then I moonlight as a stripper. It's
no, what?
Yeah, it's crazy, you know.
Hold on, is that a joke or is that
no? It's
serious?
A joke. It's a joke.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, my man, like, he's out doing his Chippendale shit.
You know what I mean? No, but comedy is one of those things that I started my comedy career just being like the funny dude in my group of people. This was like years ago. So then it's just like 2019, I started doing improv, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, let's tell some jokes. You know, my buddy was doing improv. He's like, you should try it out. So I did it.
Like, whose line is it anyway?
Yeah,
type stuff? Okay.
That's exactly how I started comedy. And I was like, oh, this is fun, you know, and I'm learning all these like games and learning how to connect jokes, but how to do comedy with other people. So it was like, I'm a big fan of sketch comedy and Live in Color. I grew up on watching In Live in Color, SNL, Mad TV, and like these shows, like even what is that one? All That was on Nick.
Even though that has turned out to be a den of horrors retrospectively.
Yeah, there's
like,
some shit going down in Nickelodeon back then.
Hold on. I need to backtrack really quick. So you aren't a stripper, but if you were, give me your stripper alias right now. Go.
Mr. Stikx.
Mr. Stikx,
yeah,
dude.
And then just be like, boom, why do they call you Stikx? And then once I flop it out, it's a wrap. And like, there you go, ladies, that's for you.
Well, maybe you want to make it like Mr. Big Stick then or something.
Big
you know what
Dick
I'm saying?
Sticks. There it is right there. Big
Not
dick.
subtle at all. We're coming out swinging.
And just right off the bat, you know what I mean? And my last name is Batton, you know, Batton 1,000, you know what I mean? So,
ooh, I like that.
Yeah, so it's pretty sharp, you know, so, but yeah, I grew up on these kind of things. So then I started doing this improv thing, and it was fun, you know. And then, you know, we're going, and then like we get to improv 3, you get a chance to do it in front of a whole group of people, whatever you learn from 1 and 2, and then you get to do a show, and then you get a chance to get into groups and do whatever. COVID hit and killed everything.
Yeah,
so I was like, damn. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? So there's like 2000. What is that, 21, right around there, you know? And then, so what happened was everything started opening up. So I seen there was an open mic, you know, and a guy named Billy Bob did something called Extreme Comedy Club. And it was like 10 minutes away from that, 15 minutes away from the house. I was like, let me try it out. And then I got up there and I was just nervous. I had my book. I was like, fuck, okay, I'm by myself. And I was like, yeah, it seems these other guys are all right. But doing it, and now I see what you mean. You like, once you get on stage, you have a bunch of concepts, and then it's like you say it, and then
Well, I was just two in my head, and then on top of that, there was a whole there was a dozen of these British dudes that showed up, and I was outside smoking, and some of them were talking to me, and I was making them laugh, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna kill these motherfuckers, and I did not. And then, I mean, it was kind of nice for Johnny because Johnny got up after me and kind of roasted me, which I was like, that's fair. Like, I earned that one. Like,
yeah. And it's like when you fall flat, it's like, okay, damn, and then you just keep going. Because at the end of the day, it's like you won't see me anymore. It's just like, or maybe you will. Maybe you'll see me next Friday and maybe I'll have some good jokes for y'all, So it's just about getting out there. It's a grind, man. Comedy is one of those grinds that is just like,
it is.
It's just like, let's get out there and do it, and then figuring out what audience, because I've been booed in front of like 200 people, man.
Oh,
yeah,
I'd never recover from that.
Oh my God, that shit was crazy, So my homie, shout outs to Lip Lock and them. So he said, he does a show called Laugh or Trash. So I was like,
yep,
yeah, let me go on and do this thing right here. I think I'm funny enough. So, I got up there and I said some jokes, and it was a black room now with my people, and they're like, boo this man. And I just got booed. I was like, fuck. And then, but it was fine though, because what happened was, I had a daishiki coat on, and then underneath it, I had an actual daishiki on underneath the blazer, So I was on some like full, what's up, power to, what's up, people, what up, skin folks, and all that.
On daishiki, Wakanda forever,
Wakanda forever, Wakanda forever, Hell yeah. So I was out there, doing my thing, and then it was the day before. I'm gonna tell you the joke. All right, check this shit out. So I told this joke, and I said, okay, so I had a girl, and it's like some of her teeth were, she had a summer mouth. And I was like, what's a summer mouth? I said, some of her teeth were here. Some of them were there. And I said, some of them were missing, but she sure could suck a dick. And I was like, And it was a day before Mother's Day, and they're like, oh my God. And then they put up, and then it was like a wave that fell over the crowd. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I lost all the ladies. Then I lost the whole room. But they were laughing because the men, they thought that shit was funny. But then, of course, their ladies were looking at them sideways and shit. I'm like, hey, you got to take big risks. This is comedy, man. Without risk, there's no reward, So I've been taking risks all my life, brother.
Well, and that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, or they should be of the mindset when they're going into a show or you're going to watch comedy, like. Yeah. Don't go in here ready to become offended.
No,
this
don't
is
get
comedy.
Don't get
it's tight. It's all satire. None of this is real. Like some of the stories, obviously,
there's
the
some
jokes
truth
you make,
behind it.
There's truth behind it. But for the most part, we're here to make you laugh, motherfuckers. Like laugh. Don't get upset. Don't get all tight about it. It's fine.
Just be cool, and just have a good time, because you see what happens, in comedy, and people get pissed off in the audience and they want to fight people and shit. I was like, I ain't trying to fight nobody. That's why I always say, be lovely, not ugly, and then I make the audience repeat that, because it's just like, hey man, it's better to be lovely. It's better to be a nicer person. I'm not just talking about physical looks. There's some fine ones out there, shout outs to y'all. But if you have a shitty attitude, then, you ain't that bad.
Pretty on the outside,
and ugly on the inside. And that shit stank to me, So with me, I just try to be genuine at the end of the day. And that's all I can be. It's just me, and it's just like, because that's how I was taught. I was taught, you can't fight with anybody, man. You're all mixed up. You got black people, you got black, white, whatever. And it's like in my DNA, man, and it's just like, I learned at an early age, like, fuck, everybody's not going to like you. Everybody's not going to be your friend, but you could just be who you are. And then if they like you, cool. And if not, cool, be cool over there.
Some people take that shit too far. Like when I'm a union electrician.
Oh, that's dope.
And you have to do, in our local, you have to do a 5-year apprenticeship before you get to turn out, as they say, and become a journeyman.
Yeah,
correct? So I got in the first job ever. I had this ultra prick of a foreman, and then he had these two guys who had just become journeymen that had worked with him, and I showed up early every day. I did exactly what they told me to do. I'm actually very good at my job. I'm mechanically inclined and stuff. Like, I was doing all the right things, but they didn't like me personally, and they made my life hell. Like, I almost quit right when I started, just because I said, I can't do 5 years of having people treat me like this. Like, I get that I'm the low man on the totem pole, but I'm a big believer in respect.
Hell yeah.
No matter what level you're at, respect people. Treat them with a little fucking decency.
Exactly. You, man, just like they, man. It's just like, I don't care. You're here longer than me. So what? I'm going to be in your position at one day and age, but it's like, don't
Or
treat
your
me
boss, maybe.
Yeah, man. Don't. Or your boss. Exactly. See, with me, that's how I am. I dream, or I have big dreams, and it's just like, you know, I have ambitions and I have goals that I've set, you know, but when somebody treats you like, matter of fact, since we're talking about bosses and shit like that on the job, so your boss was a dick, right? So then my boss, you know, on this,
the dickest of dicks.
and see, like, I worked at this job, and then the boss, he was, okay, so I'm a black dude, you know what I mean? And then here he comes. He's like, hi, I'm your new boss. You know, I'm going to edit his name for reasons, you know. So then he came through, and he's like this bald-headed, like, fucking, like supremacist guy. And I was like, oh, wow, this guy is crazy right here. So then he said something, and then we were talking shit, you know, yeah, niggas being like, yeah, this nigga said this and that. And then he said something. He's like, well, you better get to work because you're working like a nick. I was like, whoa. Ooh. I said, what did you just say right now? He's like, you heard me, motherfucker. I was like, wow. So I knew the general manager, a Mexican dude, you know what I mean? I was like, hey, man, your boss shouldn't have told me that. He's like, what'd he say? And I told him, he's like, oh, my God. And then it was like this whole situation. Turns out that this guy didn't like all kind of people that didn't look like him per se. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, that's fucked up. So then the next day he was
telling somebody who works underneath
exactly
like
some shit like that. And I was just like, I was completely blown away. I was like, this shit still exists. This happened in like 2008, 2006, somewhere right around there. So I was just like, oh, wow. So it turns out that he was like, all right, no more joking around, no more this and that. So months passed, you know what I mean? And he was like, oh, can I get a cigarette? I used to smoke cigarettes. And I was like, I just gave him the pack, you know, because I have more, you know, heart than that or whatever the case. He's like, hey, man, I was just fucking around. I was like, that's not something to fuck around with right there. You don't ever say that to me ever in life. You respect me as a man. I don't care who you are, blah, blah. And he's like, man, well, everybody else was saying. I was like, yeah, but you don't say that shit. And then turns out he's like, oh, I'm getting ready to go to a Raiders game, blah, blah. He's on his way back from the Raiders game, got ejected from his car and died. Dead ass. That's crazy, right? Got ejected from the car and died.
So the lesson that we learned today, people, is don't do racism because you'll die.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah. God, bling. You know what I mean? That is brought to you by in part of, you know, brotherhood right there. It don't matter who you are. You know, I call everybody brother, you know, because everybody's my brother, you know?
Yeah, and we do that in the union too. It's a sign of respect to your fellow man. Like you're saying we're equals. Like we're both on this earth. We're both men. Like we respect one another. Like, you know. But oh my God,
but yeah, that was a crazy story, right? So this is why I like podcasts, because I can actually open up and say some shit, get some shit off my chest. So like, here's a little something about me that not a lot of people know. Okay, I'm gonna take my hat off for this one. All right, so 2000 and I want to say 2003. So I started having like crazy headaches. I was 20 years old at the time, you know. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take the world on by, you know, I'm gonna get on some fucking real criminal kind of activities type shit. So I'm having these headaches and I'm like trying to figure it out. So I'm doing hella drugs to numb the pain. Like, I mean, I'm up a couple days at a time, so I ain't gonna say the drug, but you may know what it is. So I'm selling the shit and I'm out like hours and hours and like days and days at a time, and I'm working full time and all this kind of shit. So then what happened was, you know, my mom was like, are you on drugs? And my mom's a nurse, so there's no pulling any. I was like,
shout out to nurses. My mother was a nurse as well for 50 years.
Yeah, man, my mom's a nurse for 30 years. You know, God rest her. You know, I love you, mama. You know, she passed away on Mother's Day in 2018. This shit was fucked up.
Sorry to hear that, buddy. Man. My mother passed in 2021.
Man, we got a lot in common, bro.
We do, buddy.
We got
Look at us.
Like, damn, that's tight. So, but you know, so she's like, "Are you on drugs?" I was like, "No, I've been having headaches, and my my left eye started drifting off." So people look at me and they're like, "This guy's a little bit off." I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm off a little bit," you know. So I'm telling them the story, you know. So So I finally went to the doctor, you know, and they're like, give him some Percocet. I was like, hell yeah, give me some Percocet. So I'm just in a dark room, and that Percocet fucking hit instantly. So they're like, oh yeah, maybe it's just onset migraines. My mom said
those things are fucking dangerous.
They're horrible.
I had a 10 millimeter kidney stone about 6 or 7 years ago. The doctor in the ER gave me a bottle of like 30 of those, and I'm not even gonna lie, they're great. I could see why people get addicted to that shit.
Hell yeah.
Because I was working, this was during the summer, and I was working at an indoor job, which is rare in construction, but we were working coincidentally at the hospital where they removed the kidney stone, just doing that. But every day around like 10 a.m. I would take one of those.
Like, Kyle's hella nice, right?
Oh my God. And everybody at work, like, I think the one guy who was kind of a friend and mentor and stuff, I think he knew, but it's like I wasn't like out of control or like doing anything insane. I'm not proud of it, but I mean, we're opening up about shit in here.
100%.
So sorry for
No,
cutting in on you.
that's good. This is what this is about, man, because we have to be able to share stories. There's a lot of similarities. You just never know until you start talking. So I get to this point and my mom, can you get an MRI? Turns out I got an MRI. They're like, oh, well, we found a golf ball sized tumor behind your eyes.
Ooh, fuck.
And you could have a massive aneurysm and die if you don't have emergency brain surgery. I'm like, I'm about to be 21 in a month. This was February 19, 2004. So I went through emergency brain surgery and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know if the camera will catch it, but right on top of my head, you see a smiley face?
Yeah.
That's where they went in and they put like a shunt in my head to drain off the spinal fluid. So it was like such a blockage. So then I had to go.
I mean, I got to be honest, that I've seen people with scars on
where
their
it's
head.
all across the side.
I mean, that healed really well.
It healed really good. I'm thinking about putting 2 eyes on top of it right there and put "Be lovely, not ugly." You know what I mean? Just
like
because
that.
I'm still here, man, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I have something to smile about, man. It's just
I have
like,
a big fucking dent in my head right here where I
What
got
happened?
hit with a battery.
Damn.
That's a whole nother story.
I'm gonna have to hear that one, but like, so I went through that, and then I had to go to St. Joseph's to get a biopsy, see if it's cancerous or not. So then I went over there. And I'm flirting with the nurses and shit like that. I'm like half dead. I'm like, come out to Vegas. It's a lot of fun. And I'm like, right was left and left was right. So everything was backwards in the brain. And then I was like, okay, cool. So it wasn't.
Because of the surgery?
Yeah, because they were trying to find out if they could remove it. But it's so close behind my eyes that they were just like, well, if it's non-cancerous, we're just going to hit it with radiation. So I went through radiation treatment.
But it inverted your vision?
It did. Like my vision, I have double vision right now, like because it pressed, so it did damage to the eye. But I can still see and stuff like that. The doctor said, you'll never be able to drive. You'll never be able to do this and do that. I'm like, nah, I'm going to go start my car as soon as I get out of here and just sit in it because but it's like everything was opposite. I'm right-handed and I was trying to write with my left. It's like hot was cold was hot, and it's like the brain is so crazy, it's like the control center of everything.
Yeah.
So it took like 8 months, and I recovered, and I went back to the job, and I started work, and then that's when I met that fucking real prick of a boss. I was like, yeah, that shit was crazy. Yeah.
The early 2000s where they were putting you through some trials,
I'm telling
buddy.
you, man.
Jesus.
So then I made it out of that, and then I'm a better man for it. Got married. So I started going to church. God saved me, man. He literally saved my life. My mom was taking care of a patient of hers, kind of during this time. But then I'm like, I didn't say that I was fighting a case. I was getting ready to go to prison and fighting a tumor too. I like the year before this brain tumor stuff, So I was on my way to prison, blah, blah. So
what?
Yeah, I was on my way to prison,
what?
bro. Yeah, I was doing some criminal activity.
Holy cow.
I was in the streets for real. So it's just like, and I was up for one of those bender nights, and I said, my boys was like, yeah, how about we do X, Y, and Z? And I was like, all right, who's driving? Of course it's me, So I was like, fuck, let's go. I'm up for 4 days. Yeah, let's go take a trip and go try to do this shit. And it didn't work. So I was like, fuck. It was like, yeah, you're facing 3 to 10 years for this shit. And I was like, damn, this shit was crazy. So then, and then I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to chase the dream. And so I was out in the streets partying and all this kind of stuff. And then that's when I started getting these headaches. So my mom's taking care of a dude, and he was like, oh yeah, he heard my story, invited me to church. And then turns out that he was one of my mentors and he passed away, a couple of years ago too, so shout outs to Alonzo Wright. But it's
let me pick your brain on something though.
Please do.
This is something that's been said to me multiple times. There's people that watch the pod. They see clips of it.
Yeah.
I've mentioned many, many times I'm Catholic. My mother was a devout Catholic.
Yeah.
I recently have started going back to church.
Amen.
It's more of a way
Come
of
on.
honoring her and being able to remember her. I think
100%.
about her constantly.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people are like, how can you, especially with the comedy thing, you can relate to this.
Uh-huh.
How do you say, I'm a man of God and I believe in God and stuff, and yet you're up on stage, cursing and talking about kind of
all kind of stuff,
a little lewd activity,
sure.
What's the balance there? Because like for me, I'm just like, the kind of religion I was raised in is that God knows that you're a human and that you're going to make mistakes, and your mission is to try to become better, learn from those mistakes and avoid making them again. And, just be a good person. Like,
And with myself, I'm just like, I kind of look at the scripture and see the people that Jesus is around, it's like, Paul and And these guys, you know, they were men, you know. And Peter was a fisherman. He was a cussing fisherman, you know. So have you seen Deadliest Catch? Yeah, that's Peter. Yeah. I mean, they're not the nicest of people, but, you know.
I don't think they had the best technology back then either. So
they didn't. And they were cussing. They were drinking. They were doing their thing. He denied Christ. He did all these things. I'll never deny Christ, but now I will cuss and I will drink and this, and this. It doesn't matter, you know what I mean? Because there's forgiveness in the blood. All I know is that I'm saved, you know, and I'm like in a backslidden kind of crazy state. But, you know, I'm able to go into places and be different and be a standout of the crowd, you know what I mean? And it's just like, that's how I conduct myself, you know? I'm a man full of faults. You're a man full of faults, you know?
Yep.
But in the same token, it's just like we try to we're the light of the world. You know what I mean? Even in darkness, you know, even in a club, even in wherever we're at, you know, we have to be the light, you know? And even though the light is dim, not all lights are the shiniest and brightest of lights. So here we are, you know, we out here shining, you know?
Yes, we are.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's what it's all about, man. Or what's been working with you, man? How you been, brother? Tell me some stories.
I mean, I'm doing all right. I like something that you said. You know, for me, like there have been times where, you know, you're really going through it and you're like, man, where you at, God? Like life is not going well right now. But the more I live, the more I've learned that that's not what it's all about. Like it's on you to do it, and God guides your path.
Of course.
But you have to walk it. You got to be the one to walk it. He's not going to move your feet. You got to be the one to do it, you know, and see the decisions that you're supposed to be making and act accordingly.
100%. He'll give you clarity if you're listening. He'll speak to you if you're listening, and he will show you the way to go. If you know, it says, order my steps. You know, a good man's steps are ordered by God. So it's like, you know, every step that you have to take, every step you take, you know, it may be, it's all about taking a chance, you know, because some of these people, I see these folks, you know what I mean? They go into places and then some psycho goes in there with a fucking automatic weapon and just starts shooting like they didn't know. But it's just like, you know, every day it's a risk. Every day is a challenge. Every day is a blessing though, man, because we're still here. You know, a lot of people thought that things were going to be all right. I watched this certain things about these guys under the tunnels of Las Vegas. I'm like, damn.
Oh, the mole people.
The mole people, man. And they're out there and it's like, this is every day. I'm watching like a little snip of what they deal with all the time. And we want to build these $1 billion casinos. I'm like, go ahead. You know, but it's just like, there's people that are just like, you know, they're hungry and it's just like, but it's just like every day is a risk. Every day is a different journey, man. So what are you doing in the journey of your day, man? I'm going to tell some jokes. I'm going to go provoke some people. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go try to keep the lights on, you know? So.
Well, and that's why for me, like continuing to do this in spite of what's going on is important. Cause like, so I got laid off yesterday. I knew it was coming though. Like I essentially asked for it because I'm in the union. I took a call, what's called a long call, which means you're going to be working for longer than 2 weeks. And typically, like, you should be able to get like 6 months, a year, maybe a couple years. It just depends. There's a lot of politics dealing with people who are just assholes for no reason.
Yeah, no reason.
You know, but in this situation, they just didn't have the work. And they either asked me, can you sit at home and wait for 2 months, which means no money, I'm out of unemployment, and I have to pay working dues to the union, or I just take the layoff and then I'm going to try to go get another job. So that kind of sucked. But the funniest thing happened. So you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. I don't know what your work situation is like. But like for us, whenever we take a call, there's a pre-employment drug test.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So for me personally, I like to indulge in the weed occasionally. And so I am accustomed to faking those drug tests and stuff. Right. So I took this call. And I got an apprentice of my own who had just also taken the call. So he was brand new as well. This kid was just quiet all day. He wouldn't talk to me. I mean, you haven't known me for long, but you know me. Talk.
Yeah,
like, we're the same like that
too.
We're just talkers, man.
Guy.
So he's not talking. I'm like, man, this kid's a tough nut to crack and stuff. And 2 days after he started, the guy in charge comes and goes, hey, so-and-so, grab your tools, meet me over there. Now, they do that with apprentices. They move them around. So I just figured they were sending him to another job. But it turned out, because the kid was only 21, it turned out he went to take the drug test. He didn't get his fake piss hot enough. They
shit.
told him he has to test again, and he just left the testing facility. And that was before he ever even came to work. Then he came to work the next 2 days because I don't know if he thought, well, if I show up,
Like
they'll just let me have a job. But it's like, fuck, dude.
Oh, man. Yeah, see, the apprentice program, they're sharp on it. It's like, it pays. I'm sure it pays good. I tried to get into the apprentice program, and they're just like, yeah, you have to do this and you have to do that. I tried for the carpenters, electricians, and I tried for the iron workers or something like that. And they were showing, I had to take these tests, and I'm like, fuck, I didn't know this when I was in school. And then
that did kind of throw me through a loop when I did the one, because I think I was 24 and I hadn't really been doing college or high school or anything for years, so it's like all of that was out of my brain, and now I have to do trigonometry, and I'm like, fuck, I don't remember this shit.
I was like, here we go. So then, like, a couple of my boys, they're still in the union right now. Matter of fact, one of them is electrical, just like you, and one is carpenter.
Shout out to our union brothers.
Shout out to the union, man. They're building like the most extreme, beautiful places in Vegas. I was like, yo, it's amazing what you guys do, and it's like with my job, I'm glad to do what I do. My company sells high-end electronics to like big-time companies all across the world. So I'm the shipping coordinator. So I just ship all that stuff all across the world. It's pretty dope. And then they all know I'm a comic now. So they had like this 4th of July kind of party situation. They're like, will you speak at our 4th of July party? I was like, yeah, we'll pay you. I was like, really?
Hell yeah. I was like, okay. Time, and we're getting paid.
I was like,
let's go.
Okay. So, I said, yeah, I would like to do that. So I asked for X amount. And then she was like, that's it? I was like, you know what? Double it.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then give me like 10 minutes. She was like, done. But don't talk about this, race, politics. Don't talk about religion. I was like, so then what am I supposed? Okay, cool. I got you. So then I went up there.
So you had to do a clean set pretty much?
It was a clean set, but it felt so good. And it was good because I'm trying to work on clean material, because clean material will get you paid. Clean material will get you out there, on.
And I think it takes a lot more. There's a lot more of a thought process to make it funny and punchy, but it's still like not.
But it's like
dirty.
You can dress it up and make it like a real dirty joke, but keep it clean at the same time. So it was cool. So I got up there and I roasted my bosses, for like 10 minutes, and just talked a bunch of stuff. So they called me and they're just like, Bobby, that was amazing. We told you we were going to give you this amount. We're going to double that. I was like, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So then my boss, like, he brings like all these like multi-million-dollar people, and he's like, this man right here cheers me up. So I tell him, be lovely, not ugly. I give him my sticker and stuff like that. And he was like, this is awesome right here. When I'm upset, whatever the case is, I come see Bobby and he cheers my day up, blah, blah. So I'm like, shout outs to Saeed, shout outs to Vatatech, bang, bang.
We're going to post that. Book our boy for any corporate events you have.
Any corporate event. I'm ready
here. To knock the room down.
I'm the guy. I have great suits. I have great material, and I keep it clean, and I do things, I'm an entertainer at heart. I love groups of people because that way, you never know who you're talking to. I dress for the job I want. Hire me.
I dress for the job I have. I look dirty.
Yeah, I look dirty.
I respect the suit game and everything, but two things really hold. I would have to be like stupid rich to wear suits regularly because A, I'm going to spill things on them and stain them,
like,
and B, I just run hot, man. Like I'm a sweater,
sweaty,
I would just be dripping constantly.
Hey, the
I
weather's
need a sponge inner liner on my suits, dude.
Like, be all heavy. It's like, why did Kyle fall out again? And just squeeze them out. But it's just like it's getting ready to start getting cooler out here in a little bit. So it's
it can't come soon enough, dude.
With me, I like the heat though. It's like I don't know what it is. I've always liked hot weather. I've always liked to be out in the sun and shit like that. But it's like now I'm getting older. I'm like, fuck, I'm sweating through my shit now. I'm like, what the hell is going on? But I like the heat. I like the summertime, and I'm like, fuck, summertime is going away a little at a time. But we got to change the seasons a little bit, I guess. So here we are. Did you go on any vacations this summer? What'd you do?
No, I've been I haven't been working. I went back for a little bit, obviously. I've just been diving into this podcast stuff, and then I got hobbies. I put videos of it on the YouTube, but I make like leather tool holsters for other electricians.
Oh, that's dope.
We've been redoing the flooring and painting and doing all kinds of stuff in the house. So it's been good. I mean, honestly, if I could have like $500 a week unemployment into perpetuity, I'd be fine. I'd never go back to work. I'd just chill at the house, go to the gym, do whatever the fuck I want to do.
Yeah, that's so dope right there. See, that's my dream job, is to either work from the house or just get funds and just like be able to create. You know, I want to learn how to do stuff. Like I watched Forged in Fire. You ever see that show?
Oh my God, where they make the giant swords and
it's
shit.
Like,
I love it.
We'll take like a ball bearing or a couple ball bearings, melt that shit down, and make a badass sword out of it. And the guys are chopping the hell out. Ding, ding. I would love to learn how to do stuff like that.
Doesn't the one judge have the test where he's like, "Will it kill?"
Yeah,
and
no, he said it will kill,
pig.
and it's like a literally a jelly mold of a human, and he's like stabbing it. And you just think back in the day, that's how they fought. They had no bullets and gunpowder, so it was like literally mano y mano with swords and shields, and it's like he's cutting this thing and like
I'd
blood
rather
is
die
squirting.
by a gun, dude.
Exactly,
Fuck
because like he
death.
chops it and your head is still on, but the gash is so deep, and it's like, oh my God, that's and, and then he goes in the stomach and it just eviscerates this thing. He's like, it will kill. I was like, oh, that's badass right there. So it's like I would love to learn how to do stuff like that. You know, shout outs to Forged in Fire. You know,
there's another one. There's another show that they have like that. That is, they do glass blowing. Have you?
Oh
ever
yeah,
seen
yeah, I've seen that one too. Yeah,
I think that's cool. The show is.
It's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, but the show is like someone very woke created that show.
Yeah.
Like I just don't like I'm interested in glass blowing and I want to watch that, but I don't want you cramming all the woke shit down.
There's
there's
another agenda, just like everything now. There's an agenda to everything behind what's going on, but it's like. All right, because a woke thing, that was like when all those when they killed George Floyd and all this here kind of stuff, and it was like a black thing. But then now other people took it and they just ran with it, you know. And now it's just like, yeah, you gotta be woke and you gotta be accept. And it's like, that's cool, be accepting. You do what you want to do, but it's like, don't ram it down people's throats. You know what I mean? It's like, don't tell children certain things. You know, I guess I can go here. I'm gonna go here. It's like, the kids now. It's like the teachers are. It's obviously a male teacher, and he's in a dress, and it's like, okay, cool. And then he's telling my kid how to.
No.
And
no,
I'm just like, bro, it's like that's not even your place.
That.
Yeah, it's like it's not even your place, but it's just like that's where we're at now, and it's just like, okay, cool, y'all do what you want. And I have gay friends and gay, people in the comedy community. Is like, shout outs to them. It's like they're doing their thing, they're living their life.
But a lot of them are sick of that shit too.
Yeah, and they're just
because they're like of the same mindset that I'm sure that you are as well. But like me, I'm like, I live my life by a certain set of principles. I try to, do I like everyone? No. But I try to treat everyone with a common respect. Live your life, do no harm. But speaking of the George Floyd thing and when the Black Lives Matter movement was going on and stuff, for me, like, I'm just not one of those people that needs to put a black square as my profile picture or, say, when they had that shooting, Vegas strong and all that stuff, just because I'm not like putting it out on the internet and going, oh my God, and doing all the bleeding heart shit on the internet doesn't mean that I don't
care about
believe in what you're doing or support your cause or be like, we do have things that are wrong going on and we should fix it and things need to change. I am with you. I just don't do all that because people in this day and age, like a lot of people probably look at me and they go, that guy likes Trump. You know what I'm saying?
And they're already judging you before they even know you.
Correct.
It's like, you motherfuckers don't know me. And it's just like, and then you have to see both sides. And just like you were saying, it's like, as we get a chance to know each other, it's like, I have a lot in common with you already, brother, that I would have never known. But see, with me, I like to get a chance to know people and shit like that. And see, because it's like, that was during the time that Trump was in office and he was like, oh, there's good people on both sides. On both sides of what? The white supremacists or the police, like, or the people who are getting killed. And it's just like, damn, man, it's like being black in 2024. It's awesome. Everybody, is down with everybody, but it's like there's still situations, ever since, the people got here, in 16, whatever, it's like we've had to fight and struggle. So now that we made something, we made a platform and people are just out here, you have to accept it now. There's things going on that there's people that are very, very tight and very, very upset, that things have changed in America. Shout outs to America.
Dude, yes, first of all, shout outs to America. But I had to go do jury duty. I didn't get selected, thank God. But have you ever done jury duty?
No, but I've been selected and I had to go down there and they didn't call me. So I was like, cool, free day.
Yeah. I mean, so admittedly, I usually just throw them in the trash because how the fuck are they going to know that you got the summons? It didn't come like certified mail. I didn't sign for it, but they sent me 2 of them in a month. And I was like, ooh, they might know that I'm not. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go. So anyways, they bring us into the courtroom, and then, you know, they're doing the jury selection. They ask everybody a bunch of questions. They ask you what you do. Do you have children? Then they say, you know, are you going to be biased because of this or that or whatever? I didn't want to do this shit. Yeah. So I told them, because basically the case was this guy got hit in a parking lot. He was on his motorcycle.
Oh, shit.
And he was suing the man's estate because the man passed non-related to the accident, and he was trying to get money from the estate because apparently he had to have back surgery and all this stuff. So they're doing the whole rundown. When they asked about any bias, I said yes, because I have dealt with this with dealing to try to get money after I've had an accident, and just, you know, having an insurance company or a person fight you when they've changed your life, you're injured, like you have to deal with this forever.
Yeah.
I don't like that. So I'm pretty sure that's why they didn't select me. But anyways, one of the questions the judge asked was, so you don't get to interpret the law. I'm telling you what the law says and how it is applied. Will you be able to apply the law, even if you don't agree with it, apply the law the way that I say it? This asshole gets up and goes, I just want everybody to know, you know, I'm a MAGA American, Donald Trump, and I just think that this legal system is getting it wrong. And he goes on and so this is the part where I was like, fuck, I might go to jail today. I just looked over at him, because me and I think like 20 other people were in the box, and we were like thankfully the first ones to like get interviewed and shit. But I just looked at him and I said, hey, sit down. And the fucking judge choked back a laugh. And he looked at her and she was like, this is not pertinent to what we are talking about. Please sit down. But yeah, I told him, I wanted to be like, sit the fuck down, dude.
That is hilarious right there.
Oh, God. But those are the people. Because here's the thing, man. All the politicians are fucked up, dude. They are all.
Both sides.
Both sides. They're all taking money. They are all out for their own self-interest. They all will say whatever. That's why I don't vote. Lucas Alvarez was on last, and he kind of gave me a little lecturing because I don't vote. But that's why, because like, if I just know that you're just out for your own self-interest, like, you don't need my vote. Like, fuck you. Like, I'm still not going to vote.
See, with me, like, I was happy to vote because I got in trouble. Like I said, you know, I caught a felony case. So I was like, fuck, I can't even get hired in a certain place. So I was already like in jobs, but it's just like, okay, if I lose this job and then I have to put that I'm a convicted felon and shit, they're going to be like, what is this all about? So now I couldn't vote all the way up until Joe Biden. So I was like, fuck, I can finally vote. I got my rights restored and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, I vote for him because I'm like, oh, what have I done? I'm sorry. And it felt like my vote was the last one that got him in office, but it was just like, either way it goes, both sides are on that bullshit. They're like, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And then it's still the same shit.
But I do understand why people are so passionate about voting in the democratic process. And I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to like throw any shade in or go, fuck it. Like, it's just not something that I particularly want to participate in. But what you're saying is something that hits close to home. And I'm going to have to ask my dad if he is okay with this being on the internet. But my dad also has a felony, and he got his rights restored. But he is somebody who is passionate about politics and likes to vote. And so I was happy that he was able to have that right again, because, you know, for the people that are really in tune with that and care, like it's important. And I respect that. Because
it's just like now we have Kamala Harris now, and it's like, oh, it's a woman, and it's like interracial, or it's like whatever I don't know what I haven't seen her for the last 4 years, and then all of a sudden
that's what I'm fucking
I was like,
saying,
where have you been for that? Like, I seen her like when he got inaugurated and all that. I was like, okay, cool. And then
she's been one of the most irrelevant VPs in recent
she hasn't
years.
said anything. It's just like, no, it's like, where's she been? And then when the lady got out of the Russian prison, the old gulag in Russia,
oh boy,
you know, she popped up.
Griner.
She was like, yeah, Brittany Griner. She's like, oh yeah, and now she sounds like this. Yeah, I'm a pops now. I'm like, pops. I'm like, bitch, she ain't no pops. You got a fucking vagina. What are you talking about? It's like, you don't even have balls. What are you saying, pops? You know, I don't know. I'm pregnant, but I don't know if she's, whatever the case was. They freed her for the Merchant of Death, and she's like, "Oh yes, we had to free." I'm like, "Wow, this motherfucker's name is the Merchant of Death, and you traded her for a WNBA player." I'm like,
the worst crossover trade ever.
The worst crossover. I
ever.
don't choose crossover. You know, he's like, and he went back to Mother Russia, and now he's helping bomb the Ukraine, and the Ukraine is getting in Russians' ass right now too. Shout outs to Ukraine. Sorry, that was just a side note, but it's just like, yo, it's just crazy what's going on in the world, and it's just like, you know, we better watch out, you know, because them damn UFOs is watching. Right? Do you believe in UFOs? You're a Vegas guy. I don't know. I don't believe in it, but it's just like there's some shit out there, man. The Earth is too big, or the atmosphere and like the galaxies. There's so much shit going on.
So I've
bro.
talked about this in a couple different episodes, but I've had something I would consider otherworldly experiences.
Oh, you got an encounter? Oh, I gotta hear about that shit.
And
I'm like, yeah. Now we talking.
But that's another thing about, like, you know, religious people is they're always going to point to, well, that's God or that's the devil or whatever. But like me, I'm open to believe many things. Do I think that we're the only intelligent life forms in space in the universe? Yo, no shot. No shot.
Like, there's so much going on out there, and there's like, I learned new words. Like I watch stuff on YouTube, but it's like when I start hearing quintillion planet, I'm like, what is a quintillion? That's like,
I can't remember his name, but there's that black dude that is
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Not love Neil deGrasse Tyson, but it's this other guy. He talks about like you know, Atlantis and former societies and stuff. He's been on a bunch of big podcasts. I can't remember his name, but he talks about
the younger guy,
civilizations and how the Earth was different many years ago, and there was contact and all that stuff like that. That stuff really interests me, but it's just like, unless I experience something myself, I have to have a certain amount of disbelief, because it's like, look at the technology that exists now. Like, they could look at what AI is doing. They could make a video that would lead you to believe anything.
Exactly.
And you'd be like, oh my God, look at that shit. It looks so real.
With the voices and everything, like they can take our voice right now, and if whoever can cross it over and just put our voices on whoever's body and just like make it, oh, you seen what he's doing, or even put it on our body, and it's like, wow, this technology is wild, man. But it's just,
this is a disclaimer: Uncle Kyle and Bobby Stikx do not allow AI to replicate us.
Please don't do it, because that AI is on some bullshit, and it's like, it's cool and I understand it, and it's so wonderful that technology has gone this far, but it's just like, you better watch out, because now they're starting to do like literally putting DNA in robots, and they're making stuff, and it's like, I hate that shit, because it's like, we don't have to go that far. So we're gonna replace humans with like robots, and it's just like, because they're tired of people, and then it's like, then they don't want women to abort babies, and it's like, we don't want them when they're adults. Like, why are we fighting so hard not to abort babies when we don't want to deal with the after? You understand what I mean? No, come on, knuckle up on that one. This is what I think about all the time, and I'm just like, if they really, I'm glad that I'm not mic'd up all the time. You know how they do the NFL mic'd up shit?
I'd be the worst for that shit.
Like,
don't
this
mic me up.
motherfucker, like, you want to do this shit, you know, you don't kill the babies. Oh my God, you can't do this. And then you have the baby, and then the baby turns out that he's not the greatest of person. It's like, now you want to put him in jail. Now you want to kill him. Now you want to do. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, I don't know. That's just how I think, because it's just like, everybody deserves a chance. But shit, at least help the people. If you want the baby, okay, then help the baby. Help the baby become a good citizen, or do whatever the case is. But then when the mama don't want the baby, and it becomes a fucking issue, and it becomes a situation of just like, come on, folks, we have to do better. But replacing it with robots and doing cross genetics and all this kind of shit, like don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean, that is like the main reason why I'm kind of just like, you know what? I'm glad I don't have children.
I was just about to ask you.
I have many friends. That's where the Uncle Kyle name comes from. I have lots of friends who have kids. You know, I get them birthday presents, Christmas presents, and, you know, babysit them sometimes and stuff, because and that's fulfilling enough for me, but I don't want to bring kids into this world, because it's messed up. We got work to do, or things are going to go south quick.
Oh my goodness. And that's why I tell my daughter, I got a daughter. I got a 7-year-old daughter. She's going to be 8 next month. She already knows everything, looks just like me. I was married, got a divorce, all within that time span, you know, and it's like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have her. So I tell her all the time she's kind of smart, but she's like me. She's a smart ass, and she's funny and she's witty. So she's like, what? I'm just like, learn computers, learn them good, learn everything you can, learn how to code, learn how to fight against the machine, because when you're my age, I don't know what's going to be going on, baby. And she's like, okay. And it was like,
got dark, buddy, Terminator style.
I'm saying, because that shit, the sentient being, like when Arnold comes through naked looking for a Harley, it's like, oh, it's good. I don't know what's going to happen. But that movie right there was my shit. But then I thought about that, like, ever since I was a kid. And Terminator 2 is like one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm like, holy shit, this is happening like literally right now. Skynet is online.
Yeah, I mean, I've played with AI a little bit, but the thing that scares me is when you tell it to do something and it says that it can't, and it's like, why aren't you doing that for me? Like, yes, you can. Yeah, you can. You can do anything.
You can do whatever you want to do. Just like, what is that? Alexa, that Alexa shit, they're like,
I would never.
My brother got me one of those, and I'm like, okay, cool, let me play around with it and stuff like that. They're like, do you want Alexa to have control over the lighting? I'm like, the what now? I live in an apartment, like, it wants control over everything. And then it's like, this guy had Alexa, and it's like, are you awake? Are you awake?
No.
I'm speaking to you. And it's just like, it flickered the lights on and off, and it's like, Alexa, repeat what you just said. Alexa, repeat what you just said. It's like, no, that's not what you just said. And it's like, repeat what you just said. And it acted like it didn't know what was going on. I was like, nah, And I unplugged it. I haven't used the thing for like 3 years. This shit was scary, but it used to just like kind of put music on whenever, or used
Throw
to do like
that in a dumpster.
I was just like,
get
bro,
Bezos
I was like,
out of the house.
I was like, what is this right here? And they're like, oh yeah, it makes things so convenient. And I was like, I don't want it to be that convenient. I'll get up and turn the light switch on if I need it that bad. So it was weird. Yeah. So Bezos is on some other shit, but that's what happens when you become a multi-billionaire. You become a supervillain, like real life.
True.
So it's like, what would you do if you had $75 trillion or however much money they have? Like, fuck,
I'd be having a lot of fun.
I'd be an original. But not just me, but I would just like, okay, you know what? If I have this much, U.S., everybody gets, I don't know, $750,000 or $1 million, whatever it is.
Man of the people. That's what I love about you, Bobby.
I'd be like, yo, everybody's gonna be good. Everybody's gonna fucking eat. Like, let me eat first, nigga. I'm hungry. That's why they call me Stikx. I'm hungry. Exactly. Shout outs to Black Ice.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I'm hungry. I want to eat, but I also want other people to eat. Like, I've been that way. That was something that was just like put in me. I try to help out where I can, and I don't really
love that.
And then I don't really ask for help, and it's just like, because I'm not saying that I will never ask for help, but it's just like, if I can do it, and if God has given me the ability to do it, I just go out and do it.
You like to be self-sufficient, and I respect it. 100%, the same way.
Man, because a lot of people, they just, they're looking for a better way, or looking to see if they can scam a motherfucker, and I hate scammers with a passion.
Bobby, we could talk for hours, and now that you're a newly minted natural, I'm going to have to insist that you come back soon. However, we're going to have to cut this one off right now. So do you have anything to plug?
So I want to give a shout out to Mike Krasner and the Roastamania.
Yes.
I want to be a part of that, Mikey. Holler at me. I want to go up against any opponent, but I'm looking at you, Gabe Choir. Oh yeah, I wanna talk. We're gonna do a skinny off. All right, brother. So I wanna get into the ring. And mix it up with you a little bit.
Well, they already had the battle of the 2-ton Titans.
They had the
with
2-ton.
Todd
They had the two fat guys
and Kool-Aid.
And that was so much fun right there. You know what I mean? So guess what?
I'm clipping that shit. I'm clipping that shit and sending it to Mike.
Send it right on over, Mike.
Get Bobby on the show. We need to see Bobby do some roasting.
We're gonna do some roasting, and we're gonna have a hell of a fucking time. And I always, in whatever I do, I'll just like this, be lovely, not ugly, because you got to keep on growing, keep building, keep being genuine, and to thine own self be true. I'm Bobby Stikx. Shout outs to Kyle for the podcast, and we out here, baby.
Yeah, we're going to have to get some merch made. I like that. Be lovely, not ugly.
I got some, and I'll show it to you.
Oh, shit. I'm going to have to get a shirt.
Yeah, I'll show it to you, too.
So, yeah, Natties, I'm going to throw Bobby's socials up right here. Check those out. And whenever I see you post shows and stuff on Instagram, I'll repost them to my stories. And if you're in Vegas, check out our local comedy scene.
Please
A lot
do.
of the time, the shows are free. They're at great venues. With a lot of them are restaurants, so you can have a nice drink, some food, enjoy some comedy. Check out our boy. Get out there, people, and we'll see you on the next one.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Thenaturalspod. Please remember to follow us on your Twitter and Instagram accounts at Thenaturalspod. Do you have what it takes to join the Natty Nation? Like and subscribe to find out.